2016, a rogue fleck of paint hits the International Space Station. It cracks the quadruple glazed window. Space debris is becoming a real problem, and it's getting worse. Historically, we've launched around 150 satellites every year, but with the commercialisation of space, those numbers are going up. Now we're launching 100 satellites every month. So today we ask, is there anything we can do to solve the space debris problem? Decades of satellite and space shuttle launches have left stray bolts and specks of paint orbiting the Earth, travelling at speeds of around 17,500 miles an hour. That's fast enough to go coast to coast in America in less than 9.5 minutes. At these speeds, you can see why even minuscule pieces of debris pose such huge risks. To make this problem worse, a few countries, including the USA, China and India, have been testing anti-satellite missiles, creating thousands of pieces of debris. Scientists are even concerned we could reach a critical point where we can no longer launch missions into space, as debris breaks up more satellites and sets off a chain reaction, leaving the Earth's orbit unusable. Both NASA and the US Department of Defense monitor space debris. They reckon there's around 128 million pieces as small as a millimetre across in the Earth's orbit. Of these, 34,000 are tracked, all of which are at least 4 inches across, large enough to destroy a satellite or rip the space station wide open and create thousands of more pieces of debris in the process. Luckily, collisions are rare. The last one happened in 2009 when an obsolete Russian satellite destroyed a telecom satellite, creating clouds of debris. The head of the ESA has said the single collision has doubled the risk for all future missions, and that every second collision warning flagged by their systems is due to debris from the single incident. So, is there anything we can do about it? There are a number of projects working on this problem, but it's expensive. The ESA will be launching their first debris retrieval mission in 2025, called ClearSpace 1. The plan is to launch a satellite which will swallow a single piece of debris and then burn up in the atmosphere. The cost? About £107 million. It's a start, but with 34,000 pieces of debris being tracked, we will need some innovation to clear it. And we have some. In fact, the University of Surrey's Space Centre in England is working on a low-cost alternative, removing obsolete satellites from space. The methods are rudimentary, but they have had some success. The first satellite they sent out was launched from the ISS. The satellite was equipped with a net that is fired at the debris and then closes it. The satellite successfully captured and contained some space junk. Their second mission was also a success, firing a harpoon into an obsolete satellite and capturing it. Other speculative programs include using lasers to alter the path of debris and force it to burn up in the atmosphere. And there's even a Japanese startup called Astroscale who have launched a test satellite that will trap debris with magnets. But even these alternatives are expensive. Prevention is worth more than a cure. The future lies in reducing the impact from future missions and keeping risk to a manageable level. The problem is that there are no space traffic controllers. Space is a common domain, and there are no rules that any players must obey. There are, however, voluntary best practices. These include limiting the lifespan on each satellite and leaving enough reserve fuel in the tanks for the thrusters to guide the satellite back into the Earth and allow it to burn up in re-entry. But not everybody complies. Sending mass there are no penalties if a company decides not to comply with these. Taking action now will be important, especially as commercial ventures are now outnumbering national ventures. Commercial satellites usually operate in low Earth orbit, and that is the most congested part of space. Currently, UNESCO estimate there have been over 11,000 satellites launched into space. However, Starlink, Elon Musk's satellite internet company, plans to launch 42,000 satellites. That's more than 3 times as many satellites that have been launched to date, and that's just one company. The path forward is clear. There are only a few countries that can launch satellites, and the USA, Russia, China launched 88% of the world's satellites in 2020. What we need are for these countries to stipulate that they will only launch satellites that comply with the UNUSA space debris mitigation guidelines, but that's where politics come into play. The USA, Russia and China aren't exactly allies, but everyone involved in space has the common interest of keeping it open and safe, so there may be some hope. Please give this video a like and subscribe for more.